Yeah, the big assignment is clearly to be able to first to understand the business. HR has been seen often besides the business. Today, it's very important that HR is within the business, inside the business. And so when you understand the business, then you can have a good dialogue with the business people to try to shape and to change, for instance, the business orientation.
Charles-Henri, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
You are talking about the HR business partner and how the HR business partner shapes business value and helps to contribute to business value. Can you elaborate a bit on your talk?
Yeah, in fact, about 25 years ago, we started to talk about HR business partner. And for me, it was an interesting concept, but limited concept, because what you see in many companies, the business partners are yes men and women. That means that we are not really influencing the business. When we talk about business shaper, shaping the business, we talk about somebody who is able to shape the business, to change the business.
How does the business partner shape the business? Because that's a big assignment.
Yeah, the big assignment is clearly to be able to first to understand the business. HR has been seen often besides the business. Today, it's very important that HR is within the business, inside the business. And so when you understand the business, then you can have a good dialogue with the business people to try to shape and to change, for instance, the business orientation.
So how does that process go?
You know, for me, it's important that HR is aligned with the business. But HR doesn't have a strong business shaper role if HR is not able to influence back the business and to say to the business leaders, to the CEO, that the company should not go this way but the other way around, because we have the right people to do it. You see, so we have a unique capital. We have people who are able to mobilize their intelligence, the collective intelligence becoming more and more important. And from this collective intelligence, you can actually develop new business activities. So again, my view is HR has a key role to re-influence the business, but again, HR has to be credible before being able to be a business shaper. You have to build credibility for HR.
In order to do this, what are the skills that the individual HR business partner needs to develop?
Clearly for me, having the business HR skills, to have a good command, a good mastering of the HR activities, the basic one, but also to understand really the business issues, to be, for instance, to be able to read a financial statement, to understand what is a customer, the marketing orientation, is also very important. So again, having some basic business skills with the HR skills make a good combination, plus a personal skills of what I call being able to influence, to convince, and to be really in a leadership role rather than just a follower role.
On the one hand, there's a sense of empathy or understanding of the business.
Without being a specialist. We don't ask HR to be a financial expert or marketing expert or production expert, R&D expert. We ask HR to understand the basics of this. Lots of companies say digital brings collaboration or cooperation. For me, it's a wrong statement. It's not because you have digital tool that the people are going to cooperate. HR has to help the cooperation to develop, a culture, and working on corporate culture, or corporate glue, if you prefer. I would say that even in the digital world, we need more and more glue and kind of capabilities to work together. Because we have been in HR too much focusing on the individual person. So now HR, especially in the digital world where people are much more individualized, digital can help HR to give individual package to the people. HR in the same time has to gather the people.
How does the HR business partner that needs those influencing, those shaping skills, how do you communicate that to the business?
It's not, before communication, you first have to be credible. Build credibility of HR is very important. You should not develop HR programs that are not good for the business and not good for the people. Credibility is, for instance, walking the talk. You say something, you do it, but you do it obviously in line with the expectation of the business. So credibility, and then being able to communicate and to be, once you have credibility, you have the way to demonstrate that developing a new HR program that fits the business needs is useful for the business. And if you are able to have data, we didn't talk about data, I think data very, very important, data analytics is very important because you can have some proof of what you are doing. Very often we say HR is not an added value function. For me, it's an added value function if you can prove that what you invest in recruitment, what you invest in training, what you invest in compensation package has a return on the investment. So HR has to be comfortable also with data analytics.
I think that's a very clear message.
Thank you
very much.